I would ever hear these words from anyone. You have a gorgeous uterus. Forget the hair, the eyes, the face. He was talking about my uterus. But at that moment, believe it or not, those were the most heartwarming words I could ever hear. He was a fertility doctor, and I had been preparing my body for the transfer of embryos. But these weren't just any embryos. They were the embryos of a very special couple who wanted desperately to have a child. The doctor was assuring me that all those hormone shots that I had been taking that had made my butt quite bruised and sore had all worked. And my uterus, my plump and gorgeous uterus, was getting ready to embark on a most miraculous journey ever, the growing of a baby. It was 1994. I was 29 years old. I was divorced, and I had 2 children. Polly was 6 and Travis was 4. I was working full-time, and we were living a modest life. But you know, I knew I didn't want any more children. 2 was certainly plenty, but I had loved being pregnant. It was an amazing gift. I felt fulfilled, and it was self-gratifying, and it completed me. And I loved being pregnant, and I loved my kids, and so I wanted to share that with a deserving couple. So after much research on gestational surrogacy, I decided to become a surrogate mom. I met Mike and Helen through an agency, a surrogacy agency in Beverly Hills. We hit it off instantly and became quick friends and confidants. My family thought they were a wonderful, loving couple, and after they got over the initial shock of the fact that I even wanted to be a surrogate, they were fully supportive. I must admit, however, that I did not tell several of my friends for months and some for years, for fear that they wouldn't really quite understand. I needed their support, not their judgment. This was 1994, and surrogacy was still fairly new and somewhat controversial. On the day of the transfer, the doctor told us that we had 8 embryos that he had thawed out from being frozen. Typically, 50% of them are viable. That would mean 4. I can do 4 embryos, but he was wrong. He was really wrong. All 8 had survived. What are we going to do? We had a moral dilemma. Do we throw some of them out? And then, but what if they were the ones? Or do we risk transferring all 8, possibly with a multiple pregnancy, endangering my life and the lives of the babies? Mike and Helen looked at me and they said, Lisa, this is your body, your decision. So I took a moment, I had to make a quick decision, and I said, you know, we need to trust in God and let's go for it. We transferred all 8 embryos, and in less than 10 days, I knew I was pregnant. When the blood work came back to confirm it, the hormone levels were high, like really high. Like, oh my God, what had we done high? Was I having a litter? It took about 6 more weeks, 6 long weeks, for us to find out that Mike and Helen were having twins, only twins. And another few months to find out that they were having healthy twins, a boy and a girl. Joy was unbelievable. Some of you might wonder if I was paid for being a surrogate. The answer is yes. I received $10,000 plus $3,000 for the second baby. Some of the other benefits included a nanny part-time after the 24th week and supplementing my income when I wasn't working. So as you can see, we don't do it for the money. We do it because we care. Surrogate moms want to help. We want to give a couple a loving child that they can love. So as the year end approached, Mike decided that he wanted some tax deductions, 2 to be exact, and my body decided that it was tired and sore. So we went to the doctor and we asked him to induce us. He agreed. At 38 weeks, on December 30th, a little gel on the cervix, and we were ready to go. I was a little scared though. I wasn't really quite sure if I was ready to release these babies from my tummy. My heart was telling me no, but my head was reminding me why I had done this, and my body was screaming to get them out. So sure enough, not long after the little gel on the cervix, later that night, a baby boy was born. But the second delivery wouldn't be quite so easy. As she was initially feet first and she turned to follow her brother, she missed the starting gate with her head and instead decided to go shoulder first. She got stuck. So the doctor spent minutes trying to get her dislodged. Wasn't happening. And then the news came. We're going to have to do an emergency C-section. A double whammy, are you kidding me? A vaginal birth and a C-section all within a half hour? Nicholas and Chelsea both weighed in at 7 pounds each. Thank God was all I could think. And as the nurses bundled them up and were taking them out to the nursery, I said, stop, I want to see them. I think the nurses were a little apprehensive that maybe this was like an adoption, but it wasn't. And so when I got transferred to my room, Helen chose to stay with me, with the babies, for 3 days. 3 long days. And honestly, I wish she hadn't. I was tired, I was sore, and I did not want to listen to babies crying all night long. And this was affirmation that I was ready to release these babies to their parents. So the next day, Helen left the hospital in a wheelchair, with her babies in her arms, and I left with a full heart. People often ask me, was it hard for you to give these babies away? No, it wasn't. Is it hard for you to give a gift to someone that you love? No, you do it because you want to make them happy. It made me feel so good. It was so gratifying to complete this family. Even Holly and Travis understood that it was important to give Nicholas and Chelsea, although Travis did ask on a few occasions if we could split the difference and keep one so he could be a big brother. But instead, a few years later, I remarried and compromised by giving him a younger stepbrother. And after all the beautiful blessings and the wonderful experiences, I decided to do it again 8 years later, giving some friends in Mexico a beautiful little girl, and once again completing a family and fulfilling my purpose.